So you're going to get some instructions that we want to do something or another with the program. And it's going to say something like, oh, we're going to use these following math formulas. Well, your job as a programmer is to convert this into computer speak. And these are very simple formulas compared to the ones that we have in store, but you've done complicated formulas like that before, no problemo. We're working on how do you get that to convert into Matlab and display right and do the calculations and plot things and all that sort of stuff, so we don't have to do it by hand. Arandi's going to be here on Monday. She's going to work through the assignment by hand and how it worked. No, is that Monday?
Yeah.
Yeah, Monday. So we're going to a more complex program on Monday. We'll still have the tutorials that will build up to that we'll be working on, but you won't have to do the program on Monday. She's going to be working through how you actually do it and how it works and understanding the physics behind it. And then you know how to do some of it, like how to get a number input from somebody into a variable. So you can start working on some of it. And what I'm going to work on Wednesday is some of the stuff that we didn't get done on Monday. I don't know. I'll probably be here Monday because we're not sure exactly how this class is going to work.
I shouldn't take that long.
Right. So then I can start going through some of the basics that we need because we need additional tools in addition to what we're doing this week to do next week's activities and problems. Okay, so this is a simple version of, you'll see many programs like this that will be more than just area and perimeter of a rectangle. But this is the shape that they'll be in. All right, so let's start out with this guy. Our first step is to section break. So we don't have to have 85 different files. Oh, I ran the section. There we go. And this one is going to be, what did I call it? Oh, I didn't tell you a name. I'm going to call it rectangle calculator. But that's what it is. And I am going to get the length and width of the rectangle from the user, right? So that's a good comment. I'm describing what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to go through and put in comments for each of the parts before I even start programming. So I'm doing what's called pseudocoding. I'm thinking through the program first. Once I have that information, what am I going to do next? Well, this is the input right here. I mean, I'm pseudocoding the steps first. So I get my input. What's the next step after I get the input in the program? Calculate. So I'm going to calculate well, maybe we'll do these separately. The area of a rectangle. So when you're solving a problem, it's always best in programming or anything else to solve the problem first, which is what I'm doing. This is how programmers solve problems. They write it down in pseudocode, or they type it out in pseudocode. They think through the problem first and solve it. So then I'm going to calculate the area. Oh no, what did I do? Oh, perimeter. I haven't actually solved the problem yet, but I've outlined it. Calculate the perimeter. I don't need to have of a rectangle. And what's my last thing I'm going to do is I have input, I have calculation. The last part is output. Yep, output display, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to display the answers. Exactly. We're going to have these 3 steps in every program. Because if all we do is calculate it, you can't see the answer. Not very helpful. And if you don't get input, you always get the same answer, which is not very helpful. Okay, so display, area, and perimeter of a rectangle. There we go. And if you forget how to do this, well, you got it right up here. How do we get input? Oh, wait, I didn't have that part in here. Oh, it's over here. Okay, sorry. I thought we had done a program like that. Okay, so I am going to define a variable, which I do just by typing it in. And if I'm going to get input into it, I need an assignment statement to take whatever is on the right and assign it to the variable, the memory storage location on the left. So input is what we do. We get input. This part of the input, it says right down here, it tries to help you out. It says enter a value for the prompt. So you're going to tell the user what you want from them. So I'm going to say enter the length of a rectangle. And I like to do double quotes in the space just because it kind of prompts the user to say, oh, you should be typing something in at this point. And we don't want that to print or display, so we cap it off with a semicolon. Now, the next part we're going to do is exactly the same. So I'm going to copy this line, paste it here. I just need to modify a couple of things. I just need to change it to width and width. Control C copies, Control V pastes. Hold down the Control key, type C to copy something you've selected, Control V to paste it in your new location. There is nothing wrong with copying and pasting your own work. That would be called efficiency. Copying and pasting somebody else's work would have a different name. All right. So when I'm converting a formula into a program, I typically put the formula as best I can in a comment. And quite often I'll just copy it from wherever the instructions are and put it in here. So I know this is my formula that I'm working from, right? So area equals length times width. Well, that's not going to work, but it's pretty close. So we want to have a variable to store area, what would be a good name for a variable to store area?
Area.
In programming, we typically use the whole word. In math, you just use single letters and things. I asked Scott Schaub once why they did that, and he wasn't quite sure. He said it was so we don't have to do so much writing on the board. I don't know. Because in programming, we always have descriptive variables, so we know what's going on. So in math, you'd have L times W. Well, in programming, you have length times, which is the asterisk key, width. We always do it with variable names that make sense, that tell you what's going on. So far, so good. And a good name for perimeter is probably perimeter. You can use any name that you want, perimeter. Oh, there we are. As long as it's not a keyword. A keyword is display, for example. You can't use star because that's a keyword. Now in perimeter, we have two. We use order of precedence just like you would in regular math because we want to have length. Well, we don't have to. I think I put that in. We don't have to do it that. I just did it that way because I wanted to do order of precedence. So we add the length and width together and then multiply it by 2. There. Now it should be happy. Oh, usage might be invalid. What am I doing wrong here? That should be right. All right, who can solve this problem? Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong. Anybody else see it?
What?
I want to multiply 2 times the length plus the width. In math, you don't have to put that in because it's assumed when you do 2 times something. In programming, you have to put it in there. Oh, and I had my comment there, didn't I? All right, let's fix this up. And I forgot to do what I said I do. So I'm going to put my little formula here. There. Now we're looking good. Good code looks nice. It looks neat. It's even. It's Doesn't have stuff straggling all over the place. It's called clean code. How are we doing so far? Now, as you're working through a program, you can at any point just run it and see if something blows up, even if you're not having an answer. So I could do 4 and then 5. It's not going to give me the answer, but nothing exploded either, did it? So at this point, probably everything's working. Oh, I had it here. Well, I thought I did that before. So now we do the same thing we did before. You could do it all over again, but you look up here and now you know how the syntax works. Syntax means how you type it in. So we do, what do I do here? Oh, length, enter the length. Oh, the area. Let's see, area of rectangle, or maybe I'll do it this way. Do you have to type it in exactly the way that I did? No. As long as I can understand it and it works, you're good. We have license to fly. Program. I don't know why I can't spell perimeter today. There. We have a beautiful looking program. A program should look nice. It should have spaces. It should be easy to read. And if we run it, it's a thing of beauty. Let's see, my triangle is 10 by 5. There. Uh-oh. My display is not consistent. I missed some stuff. There. Now it's a thing of beauty. Code should look nice. If you willy-nilly put different spacing between stuff and everything, it is harder to read. And believe me, I read a lot of code.